What's up, man? Hope y'all blessed one back with another one right here. We got Ohio rapper allegedly set up to be killed by local Instagram model slash dancer, part 2. If you want to check out part 1, you can go to my YouTube at Ayo Chicho. It should be at the top, the same as my Kick and my Twitch. Or if you don't feel like searching all that up, man, you can search up CHEEREACTS. Let's get into this one right here, man.
And if I want to leave, I'm going to leave. And if I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave. Yeah, but you're talking about you're going to follow me. Who does that? You're weird. You're weird. I don't want to be with you and I don't have to. And if I want to leave, you're not going to follow me.
The guy that was killed the day you used his card.
Lanisha, certain things don't make sense to me.
Oh, crazy. Look at her. When she finally reached him, like, he tried to post up with her or whatever, and he swung. I think he hit her like once, and she stabbed him in his hand. He tripped and fell. Then she went crazy and she stabbed him to death.
Niggas really with it and we getting banned. Other niggas shooting shots flying out this van. Pussy niggas say they want some smoke and then they ran.
I'm Mysterio. I've been talking about this shit every day, but they don't hear me. She said, bitch said, on the bed like Mysterio. What you got fucked up?
What if I got fucked?
Well, I said fucked up.
Or I said fucked.
Never mind.
You know, anybody looking at this story, and I'm sure you would agree, without the facts being presented and knowing someone was arrested and looking at the new indictment, if someone say they left a door open for somebody to meet up at their boyfriend's house, you see what people come up with that conclusion.
Yeah, I see where they would come up with that conclusion, but they also don't know like how his door was set up. Like, you know how it wasn't like I can lock the door after I left. You know how you have the twist lock at the top?
Right.
So when I left out, you know, I'm under impression it's gonna be something quick. Go get the money, come right back in, you know, and I know a lot of people had a lot of questions like, well, why didn't you wake him up? Well, he was obviously just on the live with the other girl, and they were just talking about they were about to get their freak on.
Fam, the very first video we did in 2025 was about an Ohio rapper who was allegedly set up to be killed by local Instagram model slash dancer. Now, it turns out that Instagram model slash dancer at the time was his alleged girlfriend. He was in a poly relationship. We also found out that this young woman appeared on the first 48 prior to this situation, in a case that landed her 7 years in jail, alongside her then girlfriend. And just like this situation, a man had unfortunately lost his life. But I guess you can call this part 2, fam, because in this video, we actually speak to this young woman. She give us her side of the story about what allegedly happened the night her then boyfriend lost his life. And I have to be real, there was some costly mistakes that even she admit to in this full interview that led up to him losing his life. Now you'll later hear how she feel about it, her response, and most of all her response to the allegations that she set it up. But before we go over this one, fam, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. Now fam, I want to make one point before we continue this video. I'm only here to present the facts and what's presented to the public. If the family TV is able to do an interview from someone reaching out, or even we reached out, I'm only here to present and go over what the guests had mentioned. I'm not here to give you my opinion. Now with that being said, I do want to point out this. I noticed a couple things in this interview we'll later go over that might show some contradiction in some of these answers. Now I'm gonna let you guys point it out at the conclusion. This interview would also spark controversy, but just know this, that's what we're here for, to present the facts. Recently, a grand jury in Cleveland, Ohio, has indicted a 25-year-old man who go by the name of Devin Jones, accused him of killing Carlos Banks, an up-and-coming Cleveland rapper known as Cash Banks. Banks was killed last December inside his apartment. A police report said officers were initially called to investigate shots fired inside 5115, the Rising Apartments on Broadway Avenue. He was pronounced deceased at the scene. According to the prosecutor's office, Jones and some other unknown individuals planned to rob Banks at his home. They allegedly gained entry to the apartment after kidnapping a 30-year-old woman who let them inside. After entering, they approached Carlos Banks, robbed him, shot him multiple times, and then fled the scene. Now fam, I want to point out something before I play the interview that I want you guys to keep note of. Devin, as of now, is not cooperating, so we won't really know exactly the truth. Also, they allegedly killed him, according to his then girlfriend, who you're about to hear from, because he wouldn't give up his stash. Check out the interview.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Family TV. Who do we have a privilege for speaking with today?
Lanisha Jones, aka Lovely.
So I can call you Lovely or Lanisha. Which one do you prefer?
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
All right.
You know.
So
I'm me, regardless. So
right.
my middle name is Lovely. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. First and foremost, I want to tell you we appreciate you taking the time to chop it up with us. For the audience, so they can get caught up. I think it was a month ago we did a story about an up-and-coming Ohio rapper who we'll later go into detail about. His name was Cash Banks. Unfortunately, he lost his life inside of his apartment only hours after being on live.
He wasn't on live with me. Actually, that girl that was in the video that they thought was me, that's actually a girl that we was in a polygamy relationship with. That's not me. That's why everybody was like, well, makeup do you justice. That wasn't me. I don't even really wear makeup.
Got you. So, before we really get into y'all relationship, you mind just telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm an entertainer. I'm an actress. I say actress because you got to do like videos and stuff like that in my type of field. I'm a dancer. So, I'm just me all the way around.
Right. Are you from Ohio?
Yes, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Now, it was a segment that we had inside the last video. It briefly touched on a past situation you had considered a friend or ex-friend?
She was an ex-girlfriend.
An ex-girlfriend, okay. It was an unfortunate situation where a man was, I believe, stabbed to death?
Yes.
You was also featured on the First 48. We showed a snippet of it. Do you want to briefly talk about that?
Yeah, I can briefly talk about it. Basically, you know, I was in foster care. I got kicked out. You know, her mother was having mental health issues. She got kicked out. You know, that's how, you know, we came together, pain, you know, going through similar situations, not feeling loved. And, you know, sorry about that. Okay. I got a phone call. Long story short, you know, we came together.
I'm lost. So she was on First 48.
And we was trying to help one another out. She took a ride, and the ride turned crazy. You know, we ended up going over to dude's house, smoking some weed because he offered it to us. I was 17. She was 15 at the time. She actually lied to me about her age. She told me she was the same age as me. We go to the house, you know, we smoke the weed. I start feeling weird. I go upstairs, come down. She talking about he didn't try to force himself up on her. So, you know, that led to another thing. And, you know, my case is basically like a sexual, like, kind of case in a sense. Well, my station case.
All right. Now, you end up doing 7 years?
Yeah, I did 7 years behind this.
Right.
And because I was there and, you know, it ain't like I went to the police behind it. So, but I never really kind of like felt strongly about it.
Right. And what about your friend? How long did she get?
She got 13 years.
13 years. Is she still incarcerated or she came out?
I think right now she's still incarcerated. She should be in pre-release.
Okay.
But she's about to be coming home, I think this year or next year. I don't talk to her no longer.
Okay. Now, I saw in the report.
Oh, so the other girl is not the other girl. Okay, I thought, okay. All right. So she just the girl that happened with the other situation a long time ago.
When I was watching the First 48 episode, was there any kind of substance inside that marijuana that could have made y'all or made him act a certain way?
Yes, it was actually PCP found in the marijuana.
Do you think by chance y'all possibly could have hit that?
Of course. That was the, they had it on the evidence. That was the same weed that they retrieved from the house, from our story.
Got you. And coming home 7 years, what year did you come home?
2019.
How did it feel for you?
It felt amazing. Like, it felt a little weird, too. Like, I felt like I was in a whole different world. Because when I left, like, the cell phones and the technology and stuff wasn't as, like, updated. So I didn't even know how to work my phone at first.
Right. So at this point, you 24 years old, right? when you come home?
Actually, I was 25, 26.
25, 26. And how is life treating you once you hit the streets?
Once I hit the streets, at first life was a little bit of a struggle because, the jobs and stuff like that. I was trying to find good jobs. A lot of jobs and stuff wasn't taking me in, wasn't accepting me because of my background and the charges. But, family support, I always had family support and, friends. So I did have a support system always. So it wasn't that bad, But that's how I got introduced into dancing because, obviously the money wasn't that well. They trying to hire me for $9 an hour. I'm not a slave.
Eventually, you meet Carlos Banks. How long after you come home did you meet him?
It had been some years, actually. 2019, I got out. I met him actually last year in the summertime. I was actually doing a TV show with Rena Marie. It was called the Stripper Society Show.
Okay. You remember how that conversation went?
What, with Cash?
Yeah.
Thanks for the follow.
Yes.
Oh yeah. He just was very flirtatious, and when he got his eyes on something, he ain't gonna stop. And he would just really notice my dancing and stuff like that because I've always been good in that type of field. So he had the Maybach. I was one of the girls he put in the video when he was outside rapping. Like, it was like 7 girls, and out of all the girls, he chose me. So yeah.
Right. So y'all instantly hit it from there.
Yeah.
At one point, do y'all consider yourself having a relationship shortly after that conversation?
Not until months later, honestly, because it was just like I still was in a situation. So we just kept it on like a friend type of level at first for the first couple of months. And we just was chopping it up and stuff like that. We really would talk about like the Stripper Society group, and I had ended up quitting because it was just too much drama. And with women, it just always be a lot of jealousy and drama and stuff like that. So it was a lot of stuff surfacing on the internet from the drama and me being on the show and girls being weird. So me and him would talk about like that. Actually, one of the drama pieces was behind him because a girl was fabricating and saying that they were in a relationship. So I'm like, is this true? I'm like, because how you keep trying to get on with me and you like in a relationship? And he was like, I never had sex with that girl. And that's how we ended up like, getting like, honestly kicking it off for real.
Okay.
Just catching people up in their lives and stuff like that. And we just found it funny.
Okay. December 29th, 2024. Cash was gunned. Yes. First of all, tell me how your day started. Do you remember on December 29th?
Yeah, I remember the whole day. We all had woke up, and he had planned on going on a run that day, and
a jog.
Yeah, jog. He would jog from East 55th all the way up to like somewhere near like the ballpark or whatever. Not the ballpark, but the ball stadium.
Okay.
Him and Alyssa, they had went together. They had took energy drinks and stuff like that, and I stayed behind because I had to go to work and I had to get dressed, and I'm a slowpoke, and I take like a long time to get dressed.
Right.
So
later on in the day, I guess when they get back, they start to get on live.
Mm-hmm.
Were you around?
No, I actually was at work at the time. I had went to work like around 12:30, like day shift at the club Emperors.
Okay. And so was you home when the situation went on?
No, I wasn't home and I wasn't present at all.
Okay. 5115 Broadway Avenue. Masked gunman breaks into Cash apartment. They say it was a robbery, but I want to ask you a couple questions because it's a couple things that contradict that. Like, in a police report, it mentioned that his narcotics were still in the presence of his home. And also, a door was unlocked. Do you know anything about that?
Yes. The door to his apartment was unlocked because I left out because I had got not an email, but a message on the Instagrams stating that somebody had wanted to book me for a party. And I had told them, if you want to book me, you know, you got to send me my deposit first.
Right. They didn't want to send it virtually. They decided to give you cash.
Yeah, the person over the internet, I was, you know, under the influence, like under the influence, but under the impression that it was a female, you know, booking me for a party for her dude.
And was the page a private page?
No, it wasn't a private page at all.
Is the page
The
still?
page looked at like realistic. It had pictures on there. It had followers on there at the time. Like it had a picture of the girl and a couple of the pictures of, you know, the girl that matched the profile. So I'm like, I'm not thinking anything was irregular. You know what I mean?
So this after you came home from work?
Actually, it was actually while I was at work. I had got the message, and they was like, I know it's last minute, but I would like to book you for a party, and I actually want another girl. I want to book another girl. So at first I was saying like, okay, the deposit is $250, and then I upped it to $300 when they added the girl. I was going to take the $250, you know, and then the girl that I was putting on, I was going to give her the $100.
Right. And you gave them the address to meet you at the apartment?
Yes, they had, I kept asking them, like, you know, I got Zelle, I got Cash App, I got Apple Pay, I got all of these, you know, payment options, and they kept saying they only had cash. They only had cash at hand. I asked them to meet me at work. They just kept saying, the girl over the messages, she kept saying that she didn't have a ride. She had to wait till her dude got off work. So I'm like, okay. I didn't really think too much, nothing of it, which I probably should have, you know, because, you know, being an entertainer and working in that type of field, like, my hours are different than everybody else, you know, and I have taken so much money at hand before people that met up with me, you know, in my same neighborhood or where I was at or around the area, and they would give me the money, you know what I mean, and keep it pushing, and I would go do a party. So I never thought, like, you know, nothing of it.
Looking back on it, do you feel like you giving them that location played a part in it? Just to give you the money?
Yeah, I feel like that definitely played a part in it, you know what I mean? Because, you know, had I not, you know, given out the address, you know, probably none of this would have occurred. But that was like, you know, nothing under my control. I didn't know. I didn't know. You know, I'm only doing like what I've been doing, you know, taking my bookings in and trying to get extra money so I can do the parties. And actually we had planned on moving, so that's why at this time I was trying to take in all the money that I could, because we had planned on moving to a mansion.
Right. Okay. And so when did it kick in and you realized that, hey, these people just used me to set up and take his life?
As soon as I went outside and I walked up to the car, and, you know, I walked up to the car with the blinking lights, you know, as they instructed me to do, and two guys had exited out the vehicle, and they basically told me, like, get in the car, and if you don't want to comply, we're going to shoot you. That's when it kicked in. I'm like, oh my gosh. And everything I just started picturing everything like, oh my gosh, like, I'm about to be.
So afterwards, they kidnapped you?
Yes. They kidnapped me when I came outside to collect my money.
Got you. So who was in the house with Cash at that point?
Alyssa.
Do you think, well, first and foremost, you hear speaking, so apparently the narrative that was given because of those actions that you allegedly set him up could possibly be thrown out the window to a certain extent, correct? Because you hear speaking to me. The other girl was a girl that you guys was in a poly relationship with, right?
Yes.
Have you spoke to her since this situation?
I have spoken to her, but it was like very brief, and she was doing a lot of like pointing the fingers, asking me weird questions. So I just really cut that person off.
Do you think she felt like you played a part in it?
I feel like she portrays like she feel that way, but I don't really feel like she feels that way. I feel like she just scared and she don't want to be blamed. So the easiest thing to do was to start pointing the fingers with everybody else.
How long was you kidnapped for?
Honestly, I wasn't really keeping track of the time. I just know I was being held, you know, hostage against my will, and they had me in the back seat of a vehicle with my head like in between my legs like that.
Do you feel like I moved? Did you feel the car moving?
yes, I felt the car move, and they had called somebody over the phone to go pick them up.
Was you let out? Was you pushed out?
What you mean?
Out the car? Like, when did you become free?
When did I exit out the car?
Mm-hmm.
When they were trying to figure out a way to get inside the building, because the doors from the building, like when you walking in, they're locked. Like the first door is open to get in, but you have to push in a code to get in the front door.
So you didn't really move. You didn't really go nowhere.
No.
Okay. Now, there was a narrative being pushed out. A young man was even went on the news and spoke, arguing that you was possibly involved. You had people in the comments who claimed they knew you. How did that make you feel at the time?
It made me feel real shitty, honestly, and real sad and disappointed, angry, overwhelmed. I just felt a lot of like mixed emotions, honestly, a lot. Scared because, now all these people, like now this dude with all this, he got a little bit of people behind him, saying all these things about me. So I felt everything. I didn't feel happy though.
I'm sure the police asked you, was they able to find that page that wrote you?
They were. I retrieved the messages after I got into my iCloud. My phone was stolen during the incident. When they, put me in the backseat and kidnapped me, they stole my phone and they turned my location off. So yeah.
Do you think, well, based on the information you have and you know for yourself, do you think that him being accompanied by someone else in the house made the robbery go wrong? You think they didn't know another girl was in the house?
I know that they knew another girl was in the house because...
Warning, if you've been injured in a recent car accident, do not accept any settlement before using this 30-second calculator. Here's why. Stop everything you're doing right now. If you've been injured in a recent car accident,
when we were inside the car, they were asking me all the questions and stuff like that. And I kept saying, I don't know. They was like, do you know if he got a gun? I'm like, I don't know. Do you know where his drugs at? I don't know. They was just asking me, do you know where everything at? And I kept saying, I don't know. And when I kept saying that, they was like, dude, you know something because you live there with the other girl. And I'm like, I don't live here. I'm like, I just been spending the night.
How did you feel comfortable giving somebody that address? Did you know this woman?
Say it again.
Did you know this woman who you gave the address to?
No.
And you still felt comfortable giving them that address to meet up?
Yeah, because it was a big apartment building, and I wasn't like, I didn't really think too much. I'm like, I'm going downstairs. It ain't like I'm inviting them upstairs to the apartment where it's at. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm thinking it's safe because, and then the door locks right there, and you got to get buzzed in. So I'm thinking like, I can run outside, grab my money, and keep it pushing. I know that's, to some people that's a little risky, but I have been like doing this for a long time. Like, I never thought something like this would happen. And I never really was dealing with anybody, I guess of his caliber. You know what I mean? Not knowing.
And
I honestly didn't even know how big he was until everything happened. Like, and the whole world was just like,
Right. So, as of today, almost 2 months later,
they actually arrested a guy named Devin Devon or Devin Jones or something.
Okay. Did you know Devin?
No.
I'm sure could possibly be more arrests if they lured the girl to help get you. Or do you know if you was talking to a girl?
Honestly, I feel like it was one of them behind the page.
Yeah. Okay, so you never...
Pretending, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I felt like they knew how to angle me because, Cash had been going live a lot and he had posted me, on his page and he done told the world, this my girlfriend.
Right. And it's crazy because there was a lot of people on Facebook and these social media platforms like Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, who seemed they tried to communicate with him when he was on live with you. Now, do you know Trick Daddy daughter?
I don't know her personally, but she was definitely had called Cash before, and she was saying a lot of nasty things towards me and the other girl we was in a relationship with, and I definitely gave her a mouthful of words, you know. So
And
I personally knew her, but I just knew she was throwing shade at me, and I didn't even know her.
Now, all this is fresh. So we don't know if he's going to take it to trial. We don't know if he's going to accept a plea. You're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16 counts. If needed, do you plan on assisting to make sure justice served?
Yes.
That's good to know. That's good to know. If it's anything you would want the audience to know, what would it be?
I would say never believe, you know, false narratives being put out there on the internet, because some things aren't as it seems. And the dude J Perp, you know, he put a lot of false narratives on my name due to him not liking me because of ex he was cool with. And I would say, you know, don't believe everything that's being put out there, even if a person do have a platform for themselves, because some people put out, you know, false things on people, and you know that don't even be the case. And I think it's very wrong, and I think people, you know, should learn to have like their own mind and learn to think for themselves.
Looking back on this situation, and I know it's cliche, we can't change the past. We can only learn from our mistakes. But what if anything that you learn from this situation that you say to yourself, I will never do this again, or I definitely learned from this situation in this aspect, or I will continue the same way?
Yes, I definitely learned a lot from this situation, and one of the things that I learned was, you know, in this type of industry and like the type of work field I do, it's definitely good to have like a manager so they can handle, you know, all of your business and stuff like that, so things like this won't happen. Because, you know, not having a manager and just making decisions off of, you know, I was a little tipsy at the time. I just had got off of work, you know what I mean? So you got to understand, I was under the influence. I'm happy. I'm thinking I'm about to go outside and get some more money. I just made like $1,000 at work. So I'm like, yeah, 1,300. Like, I'm doing it, you know? And I was actually, it went from me feeling good to me feeling shitty, you know? And because of, you know, me not having a manager and me not, you know, having like that third party to like be like, you think you should do that, or you think, you know, I don't know, that's a little skeptical, like to give me that other insight. I think from not being able to have that, you know, that definitely played a big part in everything that happened. And I learned from that. Like, I know now I have a manager, and I'm not going to accept nothing past a certain time either. Like, I guess after I get off work, you know, it ain't going to be no, I'm about to catch some more money, you know, on the side, because that's played out. I realize now it's real people out here who preys on things like that and prey on people's lives.
Sometimes we don't know our actions can have a reaction, right? And exactly. And it may not be what people think it is, even though the evidence would suggest that. But because we have learning curves throughout our journey in life, we don't always make the best decision. And, you know, anybody looking at this story, and I'm sure you would agree, without the facts being presented and knowing someone was arrested and looking at the new indictment, if someone say they left a door open for somebody to meet up at their boyfriend's house, you see what people come up with that conclusion.
Yeah, I see where they would come up with that conclusion, but they also don't know like how his door was set up. Like, you know how it wasn't like I can lock the door after I left. You know how you have the twist lock at the top?
Right.
So when I left out, you know, I'm under impression it's gonna be something quick. Go get the money, come right back in, you know. And I know a lot of people had a lot of questions like, well, why didn't you wake him up? Well, he was obviously just on the live with the other girl, and they were just talking about they were about to get their freak on. So it's like, I'm respectful in a way too. I didn't want to wake him up because I'm not even thinking none of this stuff was going to transpire.
Gotcha.
And I also want to make it known that on that live, that's not me.
That's her. That's the other girl.
Yeah, and I just feel like a lot of people didn't even, they just wanted to point the finger at me because of like my past and my background, not even knowing what my past was, just pointing the finger, and nobody even knows her. And I'm not saying that she has something to do with it, but I'm like, why not look at the whole situation itself, everybody? If you're going to do some pointing of the fingers, why not look at everybody? Why just try to frame one person? Because you like, oh, yeah, I see she got a background.
Did Carlos know his alleged killer? You don't know?
I don't.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is, just from hearing things from other people and stuff like that, like he did have people who didn't like him. And, after the situation had happened, I actually started, really looking at his page, and I did see, hateful comments to him in his music.
Mm.
And I think because of like the lifestyle, he lived, like, I don't think that's it's always an easy lifestyle when you in the streets a little bit. And let's just be real, you in the streets. I don't think everything go perfect 24/7.
Right. Understood. Understood.
Oh, shit.
Man, I appreciate this conversation. Lanisha, I truly wish you nothing but the best in your journey, in your future. It's a very unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
The family, TV, and myself, we send prayers to you, man, and everyone affected by this story. We appreciate your time you took to talk to us, man. And anytime you feel like you want to reach out, don't hesitate. It's very unfortunate. I'm glad you was able to get your story heard. I'm wishing you nothing but the best.
Thank you. Oh, one other thing. I don't think we touched base on this. You said something about the closet door.
Yes.
And just the closet door, it was also presented that, they said I set him up, but all of his weed and
I said that
in the closet door was still locked. So I just feel like, how is it a setup? Most people are trying to do a robbery or trying to get what?
Yeah, right. And so that's why I was confusing, because I'm like, was it a targeted hit or the robbery went wrong when he didn't give it up? We'll never know, I guess. Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened when he didn't give it up, because when they came inside and they was like, where the stuff at? They had me and Alyssa in the kitchen, and they had us like, what is it called when an earthquake about to happen or whatever, like.
But she never said how she got away. You see that? You see that? Like, he asked her, where did they let you go at? And she told us, like, something up with this. So they gonna show their face and shit. Well, they ain't nobody say they show their face. So they gonna kill dude, so they gonna kill dude, right? Listen to this. They gonna kill dude. The two females still alive. They not gonna force y'all to open up the door. If y'all don't kill y'all two, this gonna leave y'all alive. Like, oh, y'all just seen a murder. All right, y'all, we gone. Nah, bruh. They set this man up, bruh. So, what?
Remember in school they used to have us go down and get on the ground and kneel?
Yeah.
So that, they had us like that against the wall, and they kept asking him where the stuff at, and he kept, saying, I don't know. And that's when they was like, hey, don't move. And that's all I heard was like, don't move, stop moving. And then I heard, the guns going off.
Got you. And then did they kidnap you after that?
No, it was a lot of running back and forth.
Got you.
In the house, and then it was no more sounds because they had left.
Got you.
But they did kidnap my fucking phone.
Got you.
And they made things like very hard because, during, me talking to the detectives and stuff like that, like I didn't have like the one thing I needed from, them texting me over the internet and booking me. And it took me a long time to get into my iCloud.
Got you. Man, Anisha, I can only imagine what you're going through. And I'm sure people still gonna have their own narrative. But like I said, I appreciate you taking the time, because there's always two sides of the story.
Yes.
I guess we can wrap this interview up. Once again, we thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Is anything else you want to say before we get up out of here?
I just want to say I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to listen to me, you know, because a lot of people haven't been taking that time to even hear my side of the story or hear anything. You know, I want people to, you know, just learn from this situation, learn from me, and learn how to handle things. And, you know, as far as me, I'm just going to continue to, you know, think positive and think about all the good times that, you know, I had with Carlos, because sitting and dwelling on all the negative things or the what ifs, like, you know, that's going to keep me stuck in the past. And I just know he would have wanted his family to be happy regardless of what's going on. And me to be happy and to be positive and to still laugh and try to remember the good times. People are gone he may be gone in the, you know, in the physical, but I am very spiritual. And so I know he ain't gone. He's still up there. He just opening more doors for the people he loves.
That's tough. I appreciate that. Lanisha, thank you. Feel free to contact us anytime you have any concern or question or want to reach out. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we definitely appreciate you speaking with us.
Thank you, and I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Well, there you have it, fam. Let me know how you feel about this one in the comments.
That's crazy, man. She sound like she got everything to do with it. We're going to go ahead and end this one right here, man. Y'all go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Hope y'all have a blessed one. See y'all on the next video.